Much. Hello, everyone. My name is Greg. I'm a journalist at Povo News. Today, we're joined by Schneider Tawanda, the founder of Ezzy Cloud. Um, Schneider, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg. Nice to be here.
Okay, sure. As a starting point, can you maybe tell me what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and your background?
Well, I think every entrepreneur starts from a monetary perspective. You want to make money. Um, then, as you go in, you realize you bit into more than you could chew, and you have to realign and readjust your goals, your visions, and everything. Because um, very soon you realize it's not a money game, but it's a game of vision, and it's a game of perhaps meeting some expectations from the society and from your background. So that's more or less my journey. I um, I started off at National University of Science and Technology in Blahayo. That was around 2011, and by then I was just pursuing an industrial manufacturing degree. Um, as as I as I went through that degree, I realized it wasn't going to give me the kind of life I wanted in terms of money, because the industries in Zimbabwe were collapsing, and also in terms of satisfaction, waking up in the morning and realizing you are really not going to be able to fulfill what you wanted in life. So from that point onwards, I started to look for channels to to exhaust my energy, because I had a lot of energy as a young man, and I tried a couple of things. I tried selling burgers. I actually sold burgers at the
Yeah.
National University of Science and Technology. It was more of I had taken a gap year when I started selling burgers, and it was more of something to keep me preoccupied and just learn about the basics of finance. And maybe I'll take you back to 2011. When I went to NAST,
Mhm.
I really didn't want to go to university in the first instance. I wanted to go to Polytech College, and when I finished Form 4, I wanted to go to a Polytech College and get a skill, and quickly get into the world, because I realized that staying in a classroom wasn't going to help me achieve my dreams. So my parents refused that I go to a poly because I had good grades on my O levels. So they demanded that I go to my A levels again. So I went back to school, did my A's. I was doing sciences. Then when it came to university, I requested once again that I didn't want to go back to. I didn't want to go to university, but then they refused that I pursue something else. And so they actually applied for me to go to university. They did my applications. Lucky
Yeah.
enough, my sister was there. So she was doing all the groundwork. And when it came to a choice of the courses I could do with my grades, I just picked industrial manufacturing because it seemed like it was the most challenging on the list. But once I got into doing my degree, I realized that it wasn't really what I wanted. Yes, it was teaching me stuff I would value and stuff that I would use for the rest of my life, but it wouldn't help me achieve my goal. My dad was a software engineer. He did a gig in England, and he came back. And when he came back, he opened a college of computing. This was in 2008 when he opened the college. And as you might be aware, in 2008, Zimbabwe was going through a very, very economic collapse. And so this college didn't take off. We ran for 2 years, then we had to shut down. But in those 2 years, I'd already got exposed to a computer, which wasn't very easy to access to get in 2008 for many Zimbabweans. So I could do the basics, I could do Excel, I could do this and that. So by 2011, my interest for computing had already been instilled in me. So when I go to college, if you if you check, the internet in Zimbabwe started around 2009 thereabouts,
Yeah.
and in 2009 it wasn't everyone internet access wasn't open to everyone. So when I got to university in 2011, internet was really available for the students. So I would go to school all day. Then at night, I wouldn't leave school. I'll just hang around, look for a quiet lecture room, go on my computer, just explore the internet. This was a whole world that had opened up to me, and um, it really built, put a seed in me to really explore everything. So this is how I came to know about the internet. And as I was exploring the internet, I came across Shark Tank, the
Yeah.
famous episode in, yeah. And I followed all the. I think I watched, I don't know how many seasons of Shark Tank. I saw entrepreneurs preaching ideas. Well, it was a world removed for me because nothing like that was in Zimbabwe. But lucky enough, when I got to college, there were a couple of other guys who were trying to figure out this whole startup thing and everything. So I started hanging out with those guys. We'll talk, but I never got to their level of commitment where you go and pitch ideas and so forth. I would just write notes and write ideas, and just the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Then fast forward to uh, 2012, I started. So I came up with this idea. My first idea was something like Uber, right?
Okay.
Um, that was 2012. I wanted something like Uber, but I understood that the culture of ride sharing was very, very different from the American and the Zimbabwean, because in Zimbabwe we use the what we call them shika-shikas, which
Yeah.
carry a lot of passengers in there, and introducing something like Uber wouldn't make sense because then you'd be asking someone to pay maybe a multiple of 500 of what they ordinarily paid. So I just wanted to try and build I just wanted to try and build that model, but adjusted for the Zimbabwean landscape of transport. So I realized, so when you go on the internet and you type, I want to build an application, but I don't know anything. There are a couple of options that come up. So you
Yeah.
can hire them, you can use the platforms that you just plug in stuff. You can use the templates and the frameworks. So, or you can learn to develop yourself and build it. So I decided to learn to develop, and that's how I found myself um, on most nights alone in the campus trying to figure out development. So I'm a self-taught developer, and I started from an idea. I think it really differentiates the kind of developers, because most developers um, I've met either they went to school, they went to college and did a computing degree and they learned programming. But when you start with an idea, then you realize you can have anyone build your idea, and you have to learn to build your idea. You sort of follow a different path from other developers. So I went through the motions. I went through, this is for the benefit of developers who know. I went through Joomla, I went through
Yeah.
WordPress, I went through a number of CMS applications. But then you learning all this, I still realized that I couldn't build the type of application I wanted to build. So I just dove deeper and deeper. I did machine learning for some time. I did data analysis. I did, like, I'll just find a topic and I'll just, go through it, try real world examples. By then the Twitter API was still open, so I could actually, go pull files and go through that. And it was really fun, and it taught me a lot of stuff. But there was nothing tangible in terms of any tech startup that I came up with. So that took me, and when I did my gap year, I mentioned, I think that's where we were. I did a stint on making burgers. Yeah, so I did a burger stand. Then it wasn't legal, so at one point the council came and just took everything I had, and then I was back again to nothing. Yeah, yeah. So I went on. Then I graduated in 2018.
Okay.
I got my degree. Then when I got my degree in 2018, um, I it was a paper for me, and there wasn't really nothing I wanted to pursue that was associated with that degree. So I then tried a gas business, um, the gas where you fill up gases for households. I tried that. We found an investor in South Africa, and he gave us money. We built our first stand. Then I got a lady pregnant, and
Okay.
yeah, I was going to become a father. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2018, I realized I was going to become a father. Then I had to man up. So I tried a couple of jobs, and I really didn't find something. Then in trying to find those jobs, I met a mentor who's become a mentor in my life, had life Chipika.
Okay.
He had the combi business. By then, it was just an ordinary combi business that carried people to and from town. So when I met him, he said, "You know what? I want to digitalize my combi business, right?"
Yeah.
So with all the experience I had gathered, it was a walk in the park. But he really appreciated what I did because I created a website, social media accounts, and everything. Um, so that was something that was working out, and I was in Harare at that time. Then in 2019, end of 2019, I was now staying with my wife then, and we had a kid. I think in December, my mom called me and said she'd gone to the doctor, and she was suspected that she had breast cancer. Right.
Yeah. Hello, Schneider. Hello. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
you're talking about
Hello.
when your mother was diagnosed with cancer. You can continue.
Yeah. So in 2019, my mom got diagnosed with cancer. That was the end of the year. So we had a
Yeah.
family business running in Rusape by then. It was a print shop,
Okay.
right? It was a print shop. So uh, we I had to move back to Rusape from Harare to to run the family business,
Yeah.
and my mother had to go to South Africa to get treated. So she left January 2020, and I think in around February, March, COVID started, right?
Yeah.
So when COVID started, we were put on lockdown, and this really put a strain on the financials of family business. But I had to keep running behind closed doors because this was the only source of income for our family, right? And I also became a real man because now I had nowhere to go. Everyone was looking up to me to, you know, for everything.
Yeah.
And my dad was at home. He wasn't feeling well as well. So I became the man of the house. And yeah, I think the 2020 and 2021 is the time in my life where I really matured in terms of business, in terms of being a person, an adult, and because I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulder. Lucky enough, my mom got better and she came back, but she couldn't go and run. She couldn't come back directly to run the shop again. So during 2021, I met up with my mentor from Pamshana. The combi business had closed down, then it had reopened, but they had struck a deal during COVID that had really, grew his financial status, and he was now quite well financially. So I approached him and said, you know what? Okay, so before I get to this point, I'm just going to take you back a bit. So in 2011, when I was starting out, I came across this. I'm not sure which entrepreneur was talking about because I watched a lot of talks, but one of them said, if you want to make $1 million, right, all you have to do is to find 1 million people to sell something for $1.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or you know that yeah, you could
Yes.
100,000 people to sell a product for $10, or yeah, breaks down here. So
Yeah.
this really left something in me. So I knew whatever business I was going to run, if I whatever amount of money I wanted, all I had to do was to break down that amount of money into users and find something to sell to people. So in brainstorming ideas in the 2011 2012, I came across a very interesting idea, which was
Hello?
yeah, I'm back. So yeah, as I was saying, 2011, I decided to uh, I went through a couple of businesses,
Okay.
and and I decided to do the digital signage displays business. The reason I picked it was because I figured out it was something that I could do easily, and it would scale up easily. And um, if you break down the from 8 to 5, if you calculate the hours and you break them down, if you put paying people who put ads on that screen, you can get quite a big number of money you can get from selling ads. So that was my plan. So in 2021, when I revisited that, I realized something. My business relied on internet, right? I would need internet for this business to work. And I discovered that in many places where it would be ideal to place a screen, there was no internet, right? So I then decided that I was going to solve the internet problem first, then revisit my idea after the after sorting out the internet issue. So then I started researching on how to set up Wi-Fi hotspots, because the game plan was simple. I was going to roll out Wi-Fi hotspots, then put advertising displays in the Wi-Fi hotspots. So I then fast forward back to 2021. I then approached my mentor, who was now financially stable, and I said, "Can you know what? Can you give me money so that I put one Wi-Fi hotspot, and then from that I can scale up on my own." So he just called me this Sunday to Harare. I visited him, and he gave me 2,500, which was what I had put on my financials of starting the first Wi-Fi hotspot.
Yeah.
So without wasting time, I then bought the um, I then went and bought the equipment that was required for the Wi-Fi hotspot, set up the Wi-Fi hotspot, and
Were you using
yeah,
the name Ezzy Cloud by then, or not yet?
it was Ezyy Inc.
Ezzy
Okay,
Inc. Okay.
so think maybe after I explain this, I'll explain to you the rest of the stuff
Yeah.
about the from Ezyy to Ezzy Cloud. Okay, so I then ordered equipment. I set up a Wi-Fi hotspot. I was in Rusape at that time. I set up the the internet would arrive at our office, and I managed to spread it quite a large area around town. Rusape is a squash town, so I got to cover a lot of sports, and it was a mesh network, right? It was a mesh network, so I could cover a good area. My dad, before he left for England, used to work for Tawanda. So this gave me the chance to go. His workmates were still at Taiwan by then, so I had a very good relationship with them, and they knew me as Jim's son, who was my dad. So they really gave me support. The Taiwan guys in Lusaka, they gave me good support, and they helped me. They would give me connections. I even ended up having like 6 lines around town from Taiwan, which would feed internet into the mesh network. So it was a quite a good setup. But that was just the beginning. There was a lot of learning that started from that point onwards. Um, so people, okay, I learned a couple of behaviors about people and Wi-Fi hotspots. And one of I think the key things was people do not buy people do not buy Wi-Fi. Okay, people want internet access, right?
Yeah.
People want internet access, but people have a limited spending. Uh, People have a limited budget to spend
Yeah.
on internet, right? So when I came with this product, people were really excited about it because when we roll out a Wi-Fi hotspot in an area, the first thing we do is give people free vouchers, right? So that
Yeah.
they can try this before they start paying. So people were really excited, and people on YouTube and downloading everything. Then when we started selling, the first question I got, so this was the first question I got: does it work at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this made me realize two things with that first question. The first thing was people didn't know what Wi-Fi was.
Yeah.
We take it for granted as techies that people know what Wi-Fi is, and you say, I have a Wi-Fi hotspot, people are going to know how to work with it. They didn't know, right? And the second thing was because people do not have a large spending income, they want an internet connection they can use at home and at work. Yeah. So the internet service, which is BuzzFi, failed right then because we couldn't hit the numbers we expected. Because if it wasn't going to work at home, people would rather buy Econet and save data, but they still would be connected at home. So it was a very few people with extra pocket cash who would use it, or who had demands for a fast internet connection. But most people rejected the idea. So um, that was 2021. Towards the end of 2021, my marriage fell apart. My wife thought I wasn't serious with life, and she wanted okay, there were a lot of reasons that came up, and she decided to move back to her parents' house in Harare. So I was left in Rusape. Then my mother delivered another blow. She said she wanted her business back. And so I found myself with the Wi-Fi hotspot, which wasn't too good, um, which wasn't operating well enough.
So,
And
uh, your Wi-Fi hotspot, where did you get your backbone internet and
oh,
or from Taiwan? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I
And what
mentioned
kind of
that
infrastructure? Yeah.
by then it was just a save. It was I had a router
Yeah.
and switch, but it was just the ordinary fiber. But then
Okay.
Taiwan was rolling out fiber in Rusape, so it was just fiber into the route. The speeds were quite were quite low. We would get like 20 megabytes per second. But the Tier 1 guys actually tried to, increase my link speed to like 50 megabytes per second just to help me, get
Yeah.
up and running.
Was
Yeah.
that in Rusape
So
CBD?
that was Rusape CBD, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So end of 2021, my life was almost on zero. Like I had lost a wife, I'd lost the business I thought I was running, and I had nothing to show for it.
Yeah, I can
So
imagine.
yeah. So then I had to restart to figure out life again. And during that, trying to refigure life out, I got in touch with my mentor, and I told him I wanted to come to Harare, but I didn't have somewhere to stay. So he invited me, and I went to stay with him. He was quite nice, and I really appreciate his love, because he supported me. And when I moved back to Harare, um, we tried, because he knew what I wanted to achieve, so he tried to give me all the support I needed. We actually went to Portras. We went to Ministry of ICT with the idea. Ministry of ICT pushed for a while. We actually came up with a group of entrepreneurs who were in different provinces who wanted to set up Wi-Fi hotspots, and it just didn't work out. Just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And all along, I was I was working for my mentor. We were doing shuttles, so you just have to carry people to work in the morning, then drop them off in the event.
Yeah, you can continue. I think your screen just froze for a second there.
Okay, yeah. So it gave me enough money to survive, I should say. It gave me enough money to survive. So that was 2022. So end of no, it wasn't end of 22. I think around March 2022, I decided to move out and start staying alone, right?
Yeah.
So I moved into the Avenues area in Harare, right? When I moved into the Avenues area in Harare, the shuttles we were doing were now dwindling down, so I needed an additional source of income. And again, I revisited the idea that 1 million people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, with what I had, by the way, the Wi-Fi hotspot network was still in Rusape. The equipment,
Okay.
everything was still in Rusape. It was just surviving, but it wasn't good because I wasn't there to, like, day to day. So if an access point would go down, I would have to go and fix it in 3 weeks or 2 weeks when I went back to Rusape. So it wasn't performing that well.
How
So
much was it priced? Sorry. The yeah.
it was a dollar for 1 gigabyte of internet.
Okay. Was it
Yeah,
for a month or for a day
for
or what?
7 for
For
7
7?
days.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for 7 days. So it wasn't giving me any money, actually. I just told my mom to use the money as she may in Rutabe. It would just be able to pay the internet connection, then a few extra money. And my son had remained in Rusape, so
Yeah.
she would get money for that. Yeah. So this is 2022 in March, and I was in Avenues, so I decided, with all the skills I have, what can I do? So I then decided to start a card checking service,
Okay.
um, which is called Missa.
Oh, Missa. Okay.
Yeah, Missa.
Or card tracking, eh?
MIW. Yeah, card checking service.
Okay.
Yeah. So um, it wasn't too difficult to set up. I got an open source system. I set up the card checking service. I bought checkers from China, and the first checker I installed was for the former Minister of Energy, Mr. Fortune Chassis.
Okay.
And when I did that installation for him, it was in exchange so that you'd like post us on social media,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so he posted us and we built traction. So my maths then was very simple. That my rentals were $200,
Okay.
and getting 10 checkers was around $100. So all I had to do essentially was to sell 2 trackers a month, and I would be able to pay my rentals. An extra 100 would now be money that I had in my pocket. So like I told myself, even if it's as bad as what, I'll obviously be able to install 2 trackers,
Yeah.
right? That's how Missa was started. I was a one person. I'll go and do the installation. I'll do the support, and yeah, that was basically it. So let's pause a bit here.
Yeah.
So you were asking about Ezzy Cloud, right?
Yeah.
When it started, it was Easy Inc. But then I transitioned it to Ezzy Cloud because I realized that the cheapest place to run a business is on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone wants to start a business. There's an option to run a brick and mortar business or an internet business. But if you compare the rentals for a brick and mortar business to an internet business, you discover that running a business on the internet is almost free, right?
True. True. Yeah.
So I realized this quickly and realized that if I'm if I was going to scale my business, it was going to be on the cloud, right? And from that, I got time to think about it, and it's not an overnight. It was over many years, but I realized that there was a gap where I could build SaaS services and PaaS services and even other services on the cloud and get subs paid, and so I then reoriented all my businesses to existing on the cloud, and my go-to cloud right now is AWS. All my services are on AWS, and
Okay.
I don't have any certification for AWS, but I think I would pass most of the certifications. But then I've never been a person of certification because certification means working for someone,
Yeah.
and I never saw myself going to present a stake of certificates and looking for a job. So I just thought that if I was going to learn AWS, I was going to use it. So I learned AWS to use it, not to go and prove to someone that I know AWS,
Yeah.
cloud formation, stuff like that. Yeah. So I put the car tracking business on the cloud. That was a hit, and it grew. We have 250 vehicles today on our
Okay.
tracking platform. Yeah, we have
What's the
250.
pricing? And I'm also interested in knowing how exactly do you track? Do you do you get that from another big company, a satellite company, in terms of the actual tracking? Um,
No, no, no. We run the whole system from end to end. What we get from another company is just the tracking devices, which
okay.
are now in abundance in China,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So um so I spent. Okay, so checking is $100. In the first year the checker cost is $30. The installation is $10. Then the subscriptions for a month is $5. So 5 by
Okay.
12, that's So in the first year, client pays $100. Then in the
Yeah.
second year, a client pays $60 for the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically the pricing of the car tracking business. Um, but this wasn't just done arbitrarily.
Yeah.
Um, picking the tracking business was done arbitrarily. So Ezzy Cloud is a group of services that feeds into each other, right? So we have Missa, which does car tracking. So today Missa is car tracking. It is car wash services. It is a car rental service, and we're planning to do insurance and roadside assistance,
Okay.
right? And all the services related in a way because rental cars use checkers,
Yeah.
right? And insurance, I'm not sure if you've heard of telematics insurance,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is something that's virtually inexistent in Zimbabwe, and we want to try and work on that. Um, so we approached insurance companies and they said we should come back to them when we have 500 cars on our platform,
Okay.
because basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be negotiating um, to insurance companies that we have 500 customers and we want to give you those 500 customers, but we don't want you to give them a flat fee for insurance, but use their telematics data to we want you to use their telematics data to calculate the best insurance for each individual.
Okay.
Yeah, so to build a business case, we need 500 cars, and hopefully, we'll get to that soon. But then, if we get a smaller insurance willing to try that out, we definitely are open to that. So that's insurance, that's car rental. Then we also wanted to try a courier service
Okay.
because we have a lot of bikes we're checking on our platform, and we are thinking of extending the platform to add a courier service. But so that's all I want you to say is Misa is telematics,
Yeah.
right? And, and trying to build services on top of the data we are getting from the tracking system, right?
Yeah.
And it feeds into the vision of Buzz because of Ezzy Cloud, because Ezzy Cloud it's a bunch of IoT services basically that run off the cloud, right? So there's Misa. Then the second one is Buzz, right? Buzz is what I envision Buzz, because we're still very far from the vision, but I envision Buzz as an IoT network that runs on top of a blockchain, right?
Okay.
With
Yeah.
motion, sensory, and perception, and visual and audio skills. So the basis of Easy Cloud is I would say the foundation is to have devices that earn money for you, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, Greg, I would want to ask you, you've been asking me a couple of questions. How many devices, how many devices that are connected to the internet do you have in your house besides
Uh,
the phone and laptop, right?
quite a
So,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, so what I discovered is as tech progresses, people are getting a lot of devices into their spaces, but people spend money on these devices, and these devices don't contribute to their income. What I envision is a world where you could buy a TV and put it in your supermarket and start earning money from that TV.
Okay.
What I envision is you buying a kit, plugging it into your Wi-Fi and start selling Wi-Fi to other people, right? What I envision is you using your car as a collection of data which can be used by the city councils, and you get money for
Yeah.
driving your car. Yeah. So we have a series of devices that we are constantly working on, and all these devices need to rest on a network, and this is where BuzzFi comes in, because now BuzzFi, all we're doing is just aggressively installing Wi-Fi hotspots and and all that, and we don't want to own all the Wi-Fi hotspots. We just want to build is a network where we can build value-added services on top. So Buzz is basically all the IoT. So the TV service is Buzz TV. We have a public CCTV service where you can get video on demand, footage on demand. So you can just place the camera maybe outside your office, it
Yeah.
captures footage. And if an incident happens there, you can sell the footage to and get money for your camera, right?
Yeah.
So we envision devices that right? So that's Buzz. Then the next one is Cloud Suits, right? Cloud Suits was founded on the Cloud Suits was founded on the on the on my experience with my mentor, the one I mentioned prior, where you can go to a company that's totally that has no digital presence, and you help them get a digital presence. So Cloud Suits is a combination of your Google business, your social media pages, your website, your support, your 3CX support, um, and all those services that bring a business online. So basically, if
Yeah.
we come to with Cloud Suits and you're offline in 3 months, we expect that you're on top of SEO results. Your adverts are showing all over social media, and you can support your clients online. That's Cloud Suits.
Yeah.
So the entire package is called a web suite, right?
Is this
Which
all
is a
automated? Do I just go to the
some of it
website
automated.
and
So some of it is automated, some of it is a human effort between.
okay.
But we are definitely targeting a one-stop platform where you can just log in and have your whole portfolio of digital presence as a business on one platform, and you can
Yeah.
manage all aspects. Yeah, yeah. So you can manage all aspects if you're emailing, marketing letters, marketing emails, or you're posting to social media. So if a business decides that they want to run a promotion, they should be able to speak to all their online media channels at once,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fly it on their website, Facebook pages, Twitter pages, support WhatsApp, instant replies, automated chatbots, everything on one platform. So that's Cloud Suite. Then the last in the Ezzy Cloud is Gringo. All I can say is Gringo is
Yeah.
it's going to be an app because it's not yet there, but it will definitely be there. It's an app where you can use all the Easy Cloud services.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're talking about your checking, we're talking about your courier, we're talking about your advertising displays, we're talking about Wi-Fi, we're talking about everything. So it's a user app that will help people um, manage all their services. And the way we envision it is it will have the wallet which will it will have the wallet which you can get money from your devices and spend money on easy cloud services, right? So that's Gringo. You
Yeah.
probably see it in 3 4 years. Yeah, yeah. So basically those are the four services, right? So those are the four companies we have, right? And we're still growing them, and we're hiring people in different areas to grow the business. So we're in March 2022, and we've started tracking. So from 2022, the checking business grew. As the checking business was growing, I decided to move it out of because by then it was running in my room,
Yeah.
the room where I stay. Yeah. So I decided to look for an office space. So we moved into an office space, and the office was next to a shopping mall, right?
Is that in Harare
So
CBD?
in the avenues area,
Okay.
Leopold, and it's avenues area.
Okay.
So we when I moved, it was the card checking because we had reached a point where we needed telematics lines from Econet,
Yeah.
and to get telematics lines, they wanted a business address and they wanted a council license permit as part of their requirements. So I just decided we need an office, and so we can get this stuff. So when we got the office, as I mentioned, it was next to a shopping mall, quite a big mall with around, I think to date they have around 150 shops.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite big.
So when I got there, I I just I was just talking to everyone I would meet, and just trying to get the feel of the area. And I met the owner of the shopping mall. It was just I just met him, like you bump into someone, then you just get talking. So we were talking, and then he told me he was owner of the mall. And I was like, you know what, I have a Wi-Fi solution that I can provide Wi-Fi for the entire mall. Would you
Yeah.
be interested in um putting it? It was like, yeah, you know what? He's an IT guy, but he's also made it in real estate, but his background is IT. He was like, you know what? You can just do it. Let's see how it goes. So, I was like, this is a good deal. So, one of the guys, um, who's also become my mentor, uh, I did checking. They are checking. We worked a bit in Rusabe. There are trucks that were working in Rusabe, and he had asked me to manage them. When I came to Harare, I decided to approach him and just say, you know what, I have this checking product, and I would want to put it on your trucks. So this guy has an ISP company in Harare, right? So when I got permission to put the Wi-Fi hotspot on the mall, I then went to him and I was like, you know what, this is I have a space that I'm thinking if you put Wi-Fi hotspots, it could work. I need internet. And he said, I'll give you the internet. Right. He was also starting out. I think he was six months in with his ISP,
Yeah.
right? He's a former liquid executive, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, you know what? Let's do it and see how it works out. I was like, cool. So I had to make the heartbreaking decision because now I didn't have any capital enough to buy new devices. So I had to make the heartbreaking decision to move all the equipment that was in Rusape to the Avenues Mall.
Yeah.
The reason I did it was because it was close. I could manage it and I could keep collecting metrics and finding out how best to work the business model work. So I moved all the equipment here. Um, 2 weeks we were up and running and selling vouchers. Uh, So now I had the Boss 5 business, and I had the car checking business going, which was quite good. So 2022, I hammered on selling vouchers. When I wasn't selling vouchers, I was installing trackers, selling vouchers, and yeah, I think that was pretty much of my 2022. Then 2023, the businesses just kept growing. More people got on board. So one thing I discovered then when I was now selling at Avenues more, okay, Harare people generally have more money than people in small towns. That was one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. The second thing was Wi-Fi hotspot users weren't people who were passing through an area, but Wi-Fi hotspot users were people who would spend more time in the area. This is a key this has become a key element when we are scouting for new sites, right? Because people will buy Wi-Fi. So just if you look back into the history of Wi-Fi hotspots in Zimbabwe, you discover that at some point Chicken Inn, which is in scope, they actually did put Wi-Fi hotspots in all their chicken inns, right?
Yeah.
But the business eventually shut down. This was because they thought that someone would buy Wi-Fi while buying chicken, then use the Wi-Fi. But I would ask you, Greg, how many times have you bought Wi-Fi in public places when you are passing through a public place? Unless you want to do something mission critical,
Yeah.
you, there's no need to buy Wi-Fi,
True,
right?
true, yeah.
So I think that changed our business model, or that changed our customer segments, the way we viewed our customers. We then discovered our customers were people who actually spent a better part of their living hours, their daylight hours in that same place, right? So you find that for the mall, we discovered that we weren't going to be selling Wi-Fi to people coming into the mall, but we're selling Wi-Fi to people who worked in the
Worked in the
mall.
mall.
Yeah, the shop attendants and the shop owners are the
Yeah.
people who actually buy Wi-Fi from us, because it's very expensive, hectic to try and get an ISP to give you a line in one shop.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it actually enhances the value proposition of the mall, because they tell their tenants, now you're coming to a space that is Wi-Fi, that's affordable,
True.
and you can, and businesses transition to online. So most of these guys find their customers online, and the shops are like micro collection points, right? So they want to be always online communicating with their customers, and they need a solution that gives them ease of access without breaking the bank to get an internet connection. And because our vouchers are now staggered, you can choose which voucher suits your kind of usage of the internet. So we have 1 gigabyte, we have 2 gigabyte vouchers that go for $1. We have 5 gigabyte vouchers that go for $3. Then we have 5 gigabyte vouchers that give you 15 gigabytes. So the first two, the 5 gigabytes and the 2 gigabytes, last for 7 days. The $5 one, which is 15 gigabytes, lasts you for a fortnight. Then for the month, we have a $10 one that gives you 50 gigabytes, and we have a $20 one that gives you unlimited internet. Of course, our speeds are kept, but
Yeah.
they allow you to use the social media and general internet usage, not heavy downloads or what, but just general usage. It's quite good, and most people use that. So yeah, so 2023 was a year where I had to realign a lot of business models, rediscover things I thought I knew, getting into new spaces. We now have Wi-Fi hotspots in bars, in a bar in avenues. We also now have Wi-Fi hotspots in residential apartments in the avenues area. Because remember what I told you, you're targeting people who spend more time in a space, but who
Yeah.
don't want to be bothered by applying for an internet connection for their space. They just
True.
want something that they think that, yeah. So
Tell me.
this
Yeah.
is
Sorry. You mentioned the issue of in-store chicken in. Is that something you are also doing, like partnering companies like in-store to help them provide free internet for their customers, or that's not a viable business for you?
no, I don't think anyone can. Okay, I don't want to say can, because probably someone will finally discover something, but I don't think fast foods, because fast foods are for, okay, fast food means someone is in a hurry to go somewhere.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so they're not going to have time to spend 2 gigabytes of data in a fast food spot,
Mhm.
you see. So there's basically no one who's going to be interested. And
Yeah.
INSCO itself doesn't want people staying too long in their
Too long,
premises because
yes.
they're small. These are different from coffee shops and where people can spend the whole day in there. So I don't think that's our target market. I think our target market, highly populated areas where people want a connection. So there's been a cropping up of malls around Harare.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are setting up tables, and like you get 100 people selling different kinds of stuff in one space, and they spend the whole day there.
Yeah.
If all those 100 people can give me $1, I make $100 a day from that one space.
True. You also
Yeah.
mentioned when you were in, I think you were in Resape, you mentioned the issue of you had issues with Potras. How did you resolve that?
No, we didn't have issues with Fortress. We never had issues with Fortress
Okay.
because in the beginning, when we were in Rusape,
Mm.
uh, we were under port. We actually met the Minister of ICT then, who
Yeah.
was Honorable Sampan Muswere, and he gave us Portras guys to help us regularize the Wi-Fi hotspots, right? Then now in Harare, we're a distributor
Okay.
of the ISP, which supplies us internet, right? So they already have a license to have Wi-Fi hotspots. So we are just like a distributor. What we own is the network, and
Yeah.
they the internet,
No, I
right?
got it.
Yeah. So we're a distributor of them. They give us wholesale, and we repackage and distribute their network using their licensing.
Okay. And then the whole platform, you are the one who put together all the hardware, all the software, all the the development to have those Wi-Fi
Okay.
hotspots.
So
Yeah.
I'll try and balance between proprietary information, like
Yes,
our
yes, yes, of
secret
course.
sauce. Yeah. We're using off-the-shelf hardware, and that
Okay.
off-the-shelf hardware comes with a robust um, software platform to manage these things. Though okay, because I mainly do the dev work for now. I've tweaked the system to work well for our Wi-Fi hotspots.
Okay.
So the system they provide comes with an API that you can then use to then build the kind of service you want.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've then extended it, because now our Wi-Fi hotspots use point of sale machines.
Okay.
So you can just print the token you want to buy, and it prints out the token, and you can give it to an individual. We're adding mobile wallets very soon to the portal, so someone can just buy and get a message with a voucher token.
Okay. Good.
So we have extended the system from its original design, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've been much of that. So yeah, so that's been that was 2023. Then 2024 has been a whirlwind as well. We've been growing, we've been adding more Wi-Fi hotspots. We moved out of the avenues area. We now have Wi-Fi hotspots in the central business district, which is in the middle of the town as well.
Yeah.
And we okay, so we've we've started a couple of related, they are Wi-Fi businesses, right? But we now have Wi-Fi for events.
Okay. Yeah.
So we, we call it mobile Wi-Fi. So if you're hosting an event, maybe a concert, people want to be streaming, the live event live on social media,
Yes.
taking selfies, all that. So we can now provide event Wi-Fi. Um, we are in talks. We're in talks to start, getting into gated communities. Um, we were in talks with to build community centers. You know, much of the stuff I can talk about it, and I'm also consulting for a company that wants to roll out Wi-Fi hotspots on a very very large scale.
Okay.
So yeah. So all these are an avenues because now what we have is not really only Wi-Fi hotspots. What we have is knowledge of making Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi technology, deliver internet to the target area. So
Yeah.
you could give me we've done schools, we've done corporate setups that want Wi-Fi solutions. So we've ceased being uh, just an ordinary internet Wi-Fi retailer to being a service or to being a provider of skills Wi-Fi consultancy services.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to call it network consultancy, though we do sometimes do networking, but our specialty is Wi-Fi.
For the
When
Wi-Fi
it comes to
technology.
yeah, we really understand the Wi-Fi technology.
Oh, that's quite an impressive journey there. Can you just maybe delve into how your team has evolved? Do you have any employees? How big is your team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we 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 have a hybrid team. The installers they come on per job. The checking installers they come when necessary. So when we have when we have cars that need checking, we just inform the installer that with such a job, and our installers come. Then for the Wi-Fi, when we're doing installations, we have networking Cisco network experts who come to configure the devices. Then we also hire engineers who come to do the installations, the fittings, because you don't want to destroy a person's building while you are doing installations. Then in terms of retail, we've built an agent network who sell our vouchers for us in areas where we have Wi-Fi hotspots. Then in terms of the office, I just have two ladies. One is the administrator who manages because we have a number of businesses, and though our walk-in customers are not that much, uh, they do sometimes come in. So we have one person at the reception. Then I have I would call her a personal assistant. She's good in marketing and she does most of the marketing, but she does the she helps me writing project outlines and doing finances and everything. So yeah, so I would say my permanent team is me and two other people. We're thinking of taking in an IT because the consultancy business requires a lot of my time, and very soon I'll be out of the country. I'm sure you come across it on social media very soon.
Yeah.
But we're starting the launch in Mozambique,
Okay.
then probably South Africa, then Zimbabwe.
That's
So
quite impressive
it's
then.
yeah, so it's going to be it's built on it's taking advantage of the advent of Starlink. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what I would say. Yeah, so hopefully by the time we're done with it, internet will be ubiquitous and people will have Wi-Fi hotspots everywhere they are. If
Yeah.
if if everything works out, yeah. So I now need to hire in a couple of tech interns who I'll teach um our tech stacks for the checking, for the cloud suits, for the Wi-Fi network, so that they can at least handle that if I'm not in the office. So we're growing, and it's quite a journey. Yeah.
True.
Yes,
w-
I think I'm
yes.
exhausted. I've exhausted my what I think you'd want to hear. So now probably you'd ask me what that missed out.
No, thank you so much there. You mentioned mentorship, like you mentioned, I think one guy from Pamshana and a couple of other people who have mentored you. What's the role of mentorship in your entrepreneurship journey, and how are you giving back, to the community?
Okay, so mentorship comes in two ways, right? I would say for all my mentors, the ISP service provider, Timeless Technology,
Yeah.
I built their website, right? I built their website and a couple of other services I've given them, right? And I still consult on a pro bono basis when they need to know about something. I can actually help them. And I've actually got some of my corporate clients from them. And when we do these corporate clients, they usually, so what happens is they if they get a corporate client, right, uh, they'll probably want to supply them with a dedicated internet access. Then when the internet arrives at the office, the corporate client then wants the Wi-Fi to cover a certain area, the internet to cover a certain area. So we actually partner and work together to fulfill the client's needs, right? That's ISP mentor, Manika, Hamilton Manika. Then Pamshana with that live Chipika. We work together in a lot of projects, some were engineering projects and so forth. But mentorship, you experience mentorship when you work with your mentors, the way they treat their employees, the the way they do their business. Um, for example, at Life from Pamchana, he told me one thing. I could take my phone out right now and send him a message. I would tell you if he doesn't reply in 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes is a lot. If he doesn't reply in 2 minutes, then that means there's something wrong, right? He always makes sure he replies messages, and that teaches you also to not communicate with him unless it's important, because if you're communicating with him and it's not important, you're going to be taking his time because he's definitely going to reply you, right? So you could go on my WhatsApp. I've seen people with like 500 unanswered messages and what, but I try to keep my chats clean with all messages replied. And people then realize that your time is expensive. You reply them, but they have to be something beneficial to communicate with you. So I don't get too many messages. I don't get those, funny stickers and all that stuff that comes on WhatsApp. So it's one of the traits I picked up from, at life.
Oh,
Right.
thank you for that.
Then uh, I also learned, the way he operates his business. You pick a lot of things. Then comes the sitting down and just talking to them. Mentors are people you can spill your dreams to, and they don't ridicule you, or they don't think you're crazy. They just realize a younger uh, version of themselves in you, and because they've done it, they'll help you avoid some of the hurdles that they came across and that probably stopped them from achieving what they wanted to be, right? So AdLife really gave me support. Out, he's a brother to me. He gave me support when I broke up with my wife, because the point of friction with my wife was really about moving out of Zimbabwe. And because I had a degree, and if engineers were getting paid good money in England, and my wife saw that if we left Zimbabwe, it would be good for us. But then I had a dream, and my dream was in Zimbabwe. So talking to him, he helped me come up with a decision. He didn't come up with a decision for me, but he helped me come up with this decision. And it really helped me in deciding what I wanted. It was a painful decision because she then eventually left and I remained here. But it 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 still helped me, because then I realized that Zimbabwe was where my opportunity lay, right? So that's the role of mentors. They help you. They carry you when you can't walk. They teach you by doing stuff. So you can have a mentor and not do any work with them. I don't think that's a mentor. So a mentor is someone who teaches you by doing stuff. So I think that's the role of mentors in an entrepreneur's life.
Oh, no, thank you for that. You mentioned Starlink. What's the impact of Starlink on your business and generally on maybe Zimbabwe's tech sector? And yeah, does it benefit you, or is it competition to you?
Okay, so in tech, um, there's one thing that you can't evade, which is cannibalism by new technology, right? And once you overcome the fear of being made redundant, sorry, once you overcome the fear of being made redundant by new technology, and you embrace new technology, you actually discover that it can open doors for you, right? So um, Starlink has actually opened doors for us, right? And we now have the event service because Starlink exists. We can have mobile internet, right? So all I have to do now is just going to go and set up my Wi-Fi hotspots in an area, set up a Starlink or two, and we have a connection, right? And it's a new product line that's come because Starlink exists. You see,
Yeah.
so that's something. That's something. Um, in terms of the existing businesses, I want to assure you that Starlink is good. Yeah, it's good, but I don't see it replacing fiber. I don't see it replacing fiber because there are use cases where fiber is more effective than Starlink,
Mhm.
right? It's probably because Africa has what is most of Africa is a developing countries, and fiber access wasn't that abundant, so people got excited with Starlink. But after my experience with Starlink, I would still prefer fiber if it's available. It's not a silver bullet that solves all your internet problems, and fiber is not going anywhere. I always tell people all those ISP companies shouldn't really be scared about Starlink, because Starlink is more like a generator for electricity. You can say
Mhm.
I'm now cutting out my electricity service provider because I have a generator.
True, true, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good analogy, yeah.
yeah. So to me, Starlink is a generator. There are times when ISPs, maybe there's a fiber breakage or something. Yes, we'll plug in Starlinks to keep our clients connected, but fiber is always the best. So I see no problem. I see no challenge with Starlink, and we're actually developing a product that will actually help more people connect to the internet using Starlinks that have been available in the market. So in the end, everyone wins.
Okay. I've got a lot of people who are, looking for a company that can help them use their Starlink to offer time-based Wi-Fi or like Wi-Fi to other people. Is that something you guys offer, or from your end?
Yes, without without disclosing, because I signed NDAs. It's a service that's coming. We have that service as BuzzFi, but we haven't scaled it up. But it's a service that's also coming from the company I'm consulting with. So very soon, everyone with a Starlink will be able to sell devices. Remember what I told you
Oh, yes.
when I started,
Yeah.
when I talked about devices that earn money for you. So
Yeah.
you've spent money to buy Starlink, right? So your Starlink should somehow earn money for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So your Starlink should earn money for you. That's a given. That's a given. People should earn money from their Starlinks. So ideally, especially in Africa, all those people asking you how they can give time-based tokens. Ideally, in a month or two, if I was to work with all those people, they wouldn't have to worry about paying their $50 to Starlink per month. They could just sell um, $52 gig vouchers and pay their $52 gig vouchers and pay their Starlink and sell it to neighbors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it should be a streamlined process where you just buy a device off the shelf, you plug it in, you get your money in some account at the end of the month, and you sell vouchers. Or people can actually buy the vouchers online. It should be a streamlined process where you don't have to put extra effort. So
Oh, yeah.
so um just to give you this device economy, a picture of this device economy. Do you know do you know the model of robot taxis by Elon Musk?
No.
Okay, so Elon
Oh,
Musk says all those Teslas, once they reach full self-driving capability, you can just you can buy a Tesla, you drive it, it drives you to work, it drops you, and you're going to be in your office from 8 to 5. So you can just um, activate the Tesla onto taxi mode, and it drives out. It goes and spends the whole day doing rides around town, ferrying people, earning money for you.
okay.
Then at the end of the day, the Tesla will come and pick you up and take you home. You
Yeah, that's
see,
quite
so
interesting. Yeah.
your Tesla becomes an investment, right? It's no more something that just takes money from your pocket. It now earns money. So while you're in your office working, your Tesla is making money for you as a taxi outside, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I envision for a lot of devices. There are devices we buy that we use once in a while, and they're just sitting. If these devices can be turned into a revenue generating income, then at some point someone can just own maybe 50 devices and doesn't have to go to work. They now have enough passive income to support their life.
Okay. Yeah, that would be quite an interesting service there. Yeah. Um, what advice do you have for, someone who's sitting there at home and thinking about a career as a tech entrepreneur or just an entrepreneur in general?
Okay, I've had so many answers to this question, so I'm sure there are better answers than mine. But what I think is, though people say entrepreneurs are made, okay, there's always been a debate whether entrepreneurs are made or born. I think entrepreneurs are born, because entrepreneurship is it requires certain traits that, when I relate to people who aren't born entrepreneurs, they can never uh, partake them. Um, I'll give you a few instances in my life where a normal person would have turned right. For example, when I refused to leave the country, it wasn't me refusing to leave the country just because the process of leaving was going to be difficult. Everything was set. I was just going to get a visa and go out of Zimbabwe, right? And everyone was saying, let's leave Zimbabwe. But I thought, I'm going to stay here, right? So that decision alone is not based on logical, um, you know, entrepreneurs do not make their decisions logically, they make their decisions emotionally, right? So it's how you were born and how you were raised that allows you to make emotional decisions, even when logic tells you the decision doesn't make sense, right? It's a decision making process that allows you to, you know, surrender certain luxuries that you know you could have in life, and choose a difficult path because you get satisfaction from seeing things work out. It also comes from believing in yourself, because people believe in themselves to a certain extent, but you, Greg, are probably an entrepreneur to an extent, because when you offered me the interview, at first when I saw it, I said, no, I'm not going to do this, right? Because besides, you know, I might not have time to do it, and I don't think I really have anything to tell these people, right? But you kept hitting and pursuing, and even now you're saying, you know, if your internet connection is bad, I'll do another day. You know, this is the kind of entrepreneurial spirit many people don't have. Many people take no for an answer. Many people take it can't for an answer. And to be an entrepreneur, you have to take no as wait. It can't as not now. It will happen in the future, right? So these are the shades that make entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs um, see things before they happen. Entrepreneurs are people who live in the future today, right? So sometimes I don't think being an entrepreneur is a decision you make, because if you're going to sit down and say, I want to be an entrepreneur, and logically think about it, you have already failed to be an entrepreneur. You can be a businessman, and it's very important to clarify that a businessman is not an entrepreneur, right? That's a very, very important classification. A businessman is not an entrepreneur.
That's an
An
interesting take. Yeah.
Yeah, an entrepreneur is someone who who comes up with a hypothesis, right? Um, you come up with a hypothesis that people will buy Wi-Fi if I sell them Wi-Fi, right? And they'll buy a $2 gig and they'll give me $1. This is the hypothesis. And then you have to bring around a whole lot of resources together to to test out this hypothesis. And sometimes hypotheses don't work. Then you have to go back and think of something else, because entrepreneurs start by identifying a problem, right? That's not been solved before. Then they come up with the hypothesis to solve that problem. Then they test out that hypothesis to solve that problem. And if it doesn't solve that problem, they go back to the drawing table and come up with another hypothesis until they find a hypothesis that solves a problem. And when they solve a problem, the customer is willing to exchange money for solving that problem. Whereas a businessman is a logical process where you think, I need to open a shop, a supermarket, I need to find suppliers, and I need to sell rice and chicken and bread. It's logical. And that's why you can come and sit on a drawing paper, on a paper, and do your financials. If I buy rice for this much and I sell it for this much, and I'm going to make this much profit, and my like this. With entrepreneurship, that doesn't exist. Yes, investors ask for those numbers, but most investors do not invest in startup projections. They invest in people. And they invest in people because at the end of the day, from day one, your projections versus what you're going to do on the ground is going to be two separate ways. And if an investor invests in your projections, they'll panic. But they invested in a person and they know that if someone says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to solve this problem, even if whatever solution they came and present to me doesn't work, they're going to keep trying until they manage to solve that problem. And I'm going to make money when a person solves that problem. So that's an entrepreneur and a businessman. So I think people should really, if you're an entrepreneur, you find yourself doing entrepreneurial stuff. You don't have to think about it. But if you have to sit down and think, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you're probably better being a businessman. It's still money. It's still money. But entrepreneurs are not into it for money. I'll take you back to the start of the talk when I said I wanted to make money, right? I wanted to make money at the start, but then I realized that my journey wasn't about making money. Because if I wanted to make money, I would go to a job and work. I would start a business. I could run buses. I could run a bar. I could run. There are so many businesses that have well-known business models and how everything runs. And all you need to do is just have enough money. These are okay. So if I'll give you an easy way to for someone who thinks they're an entrepreneur to choose which they are, right? So what you do is, next time you see someone who says I want to be an entrepreneur, just ask them for their business plan and take that business plan to a bank, right? If a bank invests in that business plan, they're a businessman. And
Okay.
if a
Yeah.
bank refuses to invest in that, then you take it to uh, someone else. You take it to someone else and someone else and someone else until you find someone who says this would work. Then they are probably an entrepreneur. Banks invest in businesses. Banks invest in businesses, and angel investors and venture capitalists invest in entrepreneurs.
That's an interesting take there. Maybe that's also, you're highlighting a problem in the banking sector in terms of how they fund businesses. They should maybe fund entrepreneurs.
No,
Um,
they
they
never should
shouldn't.
fund entrepreneurs. They shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Okay, it's too risky.
They would lose all your money. You'd wake up broke, Greg. They would lose all your money
Yeah,
because so you find that people who invest in entrepreneurs are people who've made lots of money beyond that they can use in that current lifetime.
yeah,
There are people, they're not, so investors in entrepreneurs are not looking for cash. They're not looking for money.
Yeah.
They're looking for um, they're looking for impact, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for something different from just money, like cash. And yet banks businesses is to get profits from money that they've been told to keep by people, right? So banks do not have money to lose. Angel investors and venture capitalists have money to lose. They have money to burn.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. And I would never encourage a bank or a microfinance or anyone who wants to make a profit to from money to invest in an entrepreneur or in a startup, right?
Yeah.
I myself bootstrapped the startup. I bootstrapped it to where it is today. I haven't had a loan or investment from anyone.
Yeah, that's quite but what's the future for Ezzy Cloud? Where do you see your startup, your company in the next 5 years?
Um, I think we'll have a large market share of the tech space in SADC in the next 5 years.
Okay.
I think we'll have large share because the way we've built our products and services allows us the way we've built our products and services allows us to scale um, astronomically if we hit a point. So what do I mean by this? I want to take you back to the question you asked me, that there are many people asking how can they make money out of their Starlink. If I
Yeah.
had a silver bullet solution, if I had um, if I had a device to actually take out and show you right now and say this device is going for 250. If you have this device, you can steal your Starlink connection. Everyone would want to buy that. And we're working on such a device and we'll have it someday. And
That's quite good.
I think, yeah, I think that when we reach that stage where we have devices that earn money for people, they're going to sell like hotcakes. But until then, we will just keep developing the product and service, because first we develop the product and service internally, a stage where we can now give them to people to also earn money using those same devices we're using. Then
Hello?
hello, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you had frozen a bit for a second there. Okay, I'm having to pause my video. I think the connection is a bit struggling
Okay,
now.
now I can see you. Yeah, yeah. Now I can see you. But I
Oh,
think
we've covered a
we've talked
lot.
much. Do you still have any questions?
No, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I've
Thank
learned
you
a
very
lot.
much.
And I'll be on the lookout, when as new developments happen with Ezzy Cloud. And I wish you best, in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, Greg. I look forward to reading. Am I going to be reading or seeing?
Both. So it's going to be a combination of the video and also the article. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would want to read the article because I think you're the first person I have sat down with to talk about all this, because
Yeah.
I've been pitch shy, and I also have avoided media, because sometimes media tends to hype you beyond where you are. So um, I just have decided to focus mainly on working on the tech. So you're the first person I've sat down with, and I would probably just want to read your article and, see what I told you from your perspective.
No, I'll
So I look
definitely. Oh, no problem. And thank you for trusting me with this opportunity to hear your story and tell it to the world.
Greg, I hope we can do this sometime again very soon.
Definitely, definitely.
All right. Cheers and good night.
Okay, sure, man. Thank you.